Hello, what is up? Today we're gonna talk about Muv-Luv. I also just made another video on a visual novel, White Album 2, another amazing visual novel. So let's see. But today in this video, I'm gonna talk about Muv-Luv. All three parts. I'm gonna do a non-spoiler part and then a spoiler part. So let me just write that down. Let's see. Non-spoiler. Cannot spell spoiler. Okay. Um, so first of all, this is Yuko Sensei, right? Okay, yes, it is Yuko Sensei. It's been a few months since I've like read Muv-Luv. I wanted to make a video immediately. Um, so let's first quickly do, oh, I wanted to do it immediately, but I didn't end up doing it. But I do have like this little document I typed up around like halfway through, I think. I started using it like halfway through Unlimited, I think, which is the second part. So yeah, let me just talk about like maybe I'll like, do this. Okay, so let's see, like why should you read Muv-Luv? Like first of all, should you read it? I would say yes. Why would you read it? Well, okay, first of all, let me just say I rated probably a 9 out of 10. A lot of 10 out of 10 moments like these. Just joking, but yeah, there were a lot of 10 out of 10 moments. But for some reasons, like this is similar to White Album 2, you'll see in that video, but I gave it kind of like a -1. It's not like it got +1s until I got to 9 and then it just stopped there. No, instead, it was a 10 and then it got a -1 basically. That's kind of how it happened, for me at least. So what is so great about it? Well, first of all, there's the first part, which is like entirely slice of life, and then slight spoilers. Like originally, I'm pretty sure in the original Japanese experience, you're not supposed to like know like that, what comes next. But slight spoiler alert, there's like it gets into like a serious arc, and then like another serious arc, basically, kind of like that, okay? Or I mean, like a visual novel, I don't know, on its own, basically. So this is actually like compared to probably other like just romantic like rom-com dating sim visual novels of the time and maybe some older ones, it parodies a lot of them and it also foreshadows a lot of the events coming up. And so this is probably actually not bad on its own, but for someone like me that's read like probably just thousands of manga, a bunch of novels, like a bunch of whatever, and that's like literally nothing to brag about. I'm sure there's like tens of thousands of people like me in the world who have like read this much, but in this kind of medium and whatever, especially if you count Japan, there's like probably hundreds of thousands of like people at that tier. But anyway, like so for me, I would say this part was not worth reading on its own. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. But so like real Muv-Luv fans would probably hate me for saying this, but I think maybe I'm just trying to be controversial, but there's like multiple routes, right? And like there's only two routes that really like are required to move on to the next one or something like that. So first of all, I would recommend like if you get bored of like this first Muv-Luv story, just don't read the other routes. Actually, there was one that is kind of recommended for story purposes, and I did, and I think it did add a little bit to like this second part. But if you were to skip it, I think it would be okay. And look, during these things, during the slice of life events, people might hate me for this too, but if you wanted to skim over them, I don't mean like hold control and just let it fly by, but if you want to just skim over it a little bit, like some parts just like kind of read really fast, I wouldn't condemn you for it. That's what I would have to say. This is kind of like Attack on Titan, I would say, where there's like a lot of moments where you have like a lot of foreshadowing like and whatever like inside and a lot of build up secretly under the covers. But like sometimes actually I guess Attack on Titan isn't the best example, but basically like he throws in a lot of cool things in here, so like you shouldn't skip it. But then again, it's like so long and so drawn out sometimes. Still a lot of the time it was enjoyable. So next let's go to this part. This part I would say 8 out of 10. It was kind of like um, you kind of get more like serious stories and like a bit of fighting and training and so on. Like if it wasn't obvious already, like this is a mecha story, basically. And yeah, I don't have too much to say about that because these kind of tie in together. So I give the last part a higher score because it goes into like kind of a lot of psychological themes, I would say. Um, about the main character. It kind of I don't mean deconstruction as in the whole like how it's usually used as a meme. I mean like I guess like his character is kind of deconstructed in the sense that like he literally breaks down. Like, oh, that's not really a spoiler because like, well, I guess it is, but not. I'm not being very specific. Okay, my point is like the main character kind of like goes through struggles and then he kind of like has a very tough time at times, right? That's kind of what I mean. So during those times when he kind of has a setback, how his character deals with it is interesting. And there's a couple of things. Oh, let me just like write something down so I don't forget. Um, and like there's a couple of really cool sci-fi concepts, and like everything technically checks out. um and and basically like the fights are very cool, and the feeling of like real danger is really there, and like the scariness factor is also there. So all right, I think that ends the non-spoiler review. Oh, there's also some cool kind of like politicking, I guess, like politics angles and so on. Although here, let me put that here as well. um yeah, so in the end, I would say this is an amazing experience. Has so many themes and different genres and everything mixed into it. You're gonna love the characters, you're gonna love the battles, and it's gonna be exciting, and it might change your life. I don't mean like it's gonna make you a millionaire or anything. I mean like it'll probably change the way you think about some things occasionally in life, which is really the most you can ask for a work of fiction that you've only read once. Like I'm assuming you're probably gonna most people will only read it once, right? So that's the most you can really expect from a work of fiction that you've only read once and don't really like go on to write papers and like study it for your whole life, right? Like if you have the great books in the world, if you read them like 100 times, you might learn like new things every single time, right? And maybe Muv-Luv is one of those, but I'm just saying like if you only read it once, it'll already potentially echo into your life, which is great. So now let's talk about like the spoiler aspects. So I do have like my little document here that's open. First, actually, let me just talk about why I minus one. So the minus one. Okay, so I would have to say similar to White Album 2, actually. Oh, and this is the spoiler section, remember, so you should click away if you haven't seen it. But don't click away until you've left a like, subscribe to my OnlyFans, etc. All those like jokes, whatever. So the minus one. Basically, the thing with this is like, hmm, it has to be the wrap up because basically you have like well, I'm not even going to talk about the first third. I don't think it matters that much. I mean, not for this video is my point. So let's talk about here. This is like you know the reason I gave it an 8 out of 10 is probably like the training sections were great. There were some amazing moments. I think like Thomas shooting like sniping the thing from space was amazing. There wasn't any actual like fights with the beta, right? If I remember correctly. It was months ago and my memory sucks, but the trading and like the moments with the characters were nice. It was a little repetitive sometimes. Like for example, it was things we've already seen in extra, happening again here, just in a different environment. But Takeru getting used to this new environment was pretty cool. Kind of like the struggle and stress and just like how intense and harsh this new world was also a nice thing to see. Um, and Yeah, basically how unprepared he was in a lot of ways. I think I don't remember much about it honestly that I can talk about in good detail here. But about the last part, okay, this is why I took away the minus one from the last part, which to me is, let's say, the real meat of the series. Although I don't want to like disregard or discard everything here. Of course, that's not my point. But to me, this impacted me the most. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about it more. So the problem for me is that you have like basically one character, then you have like some other characters, and then like you go to like some battles here, some battles here. I think this is how it went. I might like have forgotten. Like you go into like some battles, right? Battles, and like someone dies, someone dies. You go into like more battles, and then someone dies, and then like basically there was like the whole sensei like chomp part, which was like what? Oh, I didn't even write that down. Okay, so uh all right, so this is like the chomp scene, so I don't forget. Um, and then this represents twists, by the way, and this represents like politics, I guess. Um, and also like I guess let me draw like Takeru growing up, so to speak. Okay, and this is like the time travel. I mean like going back to his original world, and then here we have like the finale. Okay, so to me, this part really dragged it down, the story down. Well, first of all, it's not even about the fights because the battles and fights, just how much I guess like like information and exposition is thrown at you is really great because it really made me believe that that world could exist. Um, and that the things that were happening were happening. The battles were a bit drawn out at times, but it did not make me like the story less. It just made me a bit more tired while reading. Um, but my point with this -1 is that at the end of the character arcs, like let's look at the character arcs, right? Like so, long story short, I think the character arcs were not fulfilled based on the promises that were made, and I don't think the ending of the arcs was fitting or complete. I feel like it was just like, oh, let me just wrap this up real quick, real easily. That's kind of how it felt to me. Um, for example, right, Ayamine Ayamine has like the whole thing with like the her was it fiance or someone or anyway Sagiri, right? So and then basically that happens, and then to the end of the story we get literally nothing except for something with like class rep basically at the very end, rep. And then with like Tama you have like her also let me put like Mikoto Tama. So for Tama you have like the thing with her father, and then like her father dies and then she's sad, and then okay, and it got me, right? Like I don't, not even it got me, like I felt for her, right? But then up to the very end what happens, like she basically just dies in the final fight, that's it. And then for what was I saying, anyway, this is like for class rep and Ayamine, right? Like once they get here, like they kind of reconcile at the end, which is expected basically, and then they just die. And then and at the end, everyone dying was like very impactful still. I'm not denying that it was impactful, but it just feels like you're just gonna wrap up their lives like that. Like slight spoiler or maybe huge spoilers for Kimetsu no Yaiba, but whenever someone dies, like just the amount of care spent on them, and also like for another series that like Kimetsu no Yaiba was very inspired by. I can't even say the name because that kind of spoils a lot as well. But anyway, so like if you know, you know. It's like it has a guy with a wooden sword. Anyway, so um, what am I trying to say? So yeah, and let's look at Maya, right? I think Maya was one of the better examples because at the end she actually had like after the tentacle action, I guess she had like some moments where she had to make decisions. Like Full Takeru, I think that was her who decided to do that, right? To like not let him know what was going on. Everyone was dying, but let's ignore that for now and let's go to Mikoto, right? Mikoto, the cute, I'm assuming she was a girl the whole time and extra too, of course, which explains a lot of her reactions. And like I guess Takeru never figured out in the end, right? That's kind of funny. But anyway, so Mikoto, right? Mikoto is like she had the whole thing with her dad as well, which was interesting, like somewhere around here in the story, but like then it just never comes back again. And like the whole thing with the dad, I thought he would have more things to do in the story, but in the end, he was just kind of there as like a pawn, you know? And that's why I kind of feel like this author, first of all, he's a great, right? And actually, if I read Attack on Titan after this, maybe I wouldn't think the peaks of it are as good even because this does like the peaks so well. But what I wanted to say is like this author reminds me a bit of Isayama and like Akutami from Jujutsu Kaisen because these authors all essentially treat the characters as pawns. And this author, maybe because he wasn't on a weekly or monthly schedule, was able to put a lot of like analysis. I'm drawing a brain here, a lot of analysis into the characters. For example, the sex scene with Maya, apparently, like the sex scenes in this game didn't really get me, to be honest. Like I wasn't too invested in them that much. Now White Album 2 is a series where I should have said this in excuse me in the other video, but that is a series where the sex scenes like actually tied into the story and character for quite a few of the sex scenes, not all. But anyway, so these guys like kind of, oh, and like the author of this Muv-Luv, like he yeah, for Maya's sex scene he literally like spent an hour like on a video like explaining and like charting out like the part aspects of it. So he put a lot of thought into it, but I don't think he put enough humanity into it. And the whole thing with these three authors is that their characters really are just pawns for the story in some sense. Luckily in Muv-Luv, like I said, the amount of detail that goes into them like averts that issue a little bit. But especially for Jujutsu and Attack on Titan, you can see close to for Attack on Titan, it's for me at least, it was only kind of apparent in the later parts of the story when all the plot lines are kind of like converging and like tied off one by one, and there's like not that many going forward. And here is when like you see all the characters are just so empty. Like Connie is literally just like, oh, like feed this to my mom, bro, for like 10 chapters. Like anyway, so I should probably make another video on Attack on Titan to like ride the hype while it's kind of popular now. But I honestly have nothing to say. Just like the ending just really sucked. I have nothing to say. Anyway, so Muv-Luv. So yeah, anyway, so just like that, a lot of these characters, like they have these moments, and then in the end, these moments don't really come back and like give them a, especially let's just say use their actual death as the uh holy crap, I talk too much. My voice is like, let me get some water. So yeah, basically, even look at their deaths, right? At their like scene when they died, it's just like a show of like patriotism, which is great. And that was an amazing thing throughout the series, seeing all the deaths and seeing like everyone's just like determination, will to like pass it on to their like comrades. That those scenes were amazing. They really got me. I mean, I knew as soon as we were like put into that squad of like people, the one with like Akane and like everyone, it was obvious like so many of them were gonna die, right? And like it was set up that way. Like you have two sisters, obviously one of them is gonna die, and then the other one is gonna like suffer, and then whatever. But even though I knew that, of course, but it still hit me like crazy, hit me like a truck. A lot of 10 out of 10 moments. Um, Oh, let me just write this so I don't forget. Okay, but maybe I'll do that in blue so it stands out. But yeah, like I said, like these deaths here were just basically very standard. Even though they were great, they were standard. They weren't adapted to the characters in ways that I had hoped. For me, I would have wished that, like, let's say Mikoto, for example, had like a moment here, a character moment here, a moment here with like her dad, and then like because of that, she changes somehow. Her battling style changes a bit too. Maybe her interactions with her friends maybe changes a bit due to her dad. Then like some kind of thing happens to her dad, and then because of that, at the end, her like death is like poetic or something. But instead, it's just kind of like we have one moment and then she dies. And then the character moments throughout these and like the bonding between everyone, the relationships, that was good. Like that's why I have all these dots. Like these dots mean it was pretty good. But I kind of wish like they all tied together to the end. As opposed to like just loosely tying together because like we had some slice of lifetimes and now she died and now we're sad. Like that's kind of the standard way of doing those kind of scenes, I would say. So of course, other things that come to mind are the arc where he went back to his original world. Just 10 out of 10 nonstop. I don't even think I need to say that much. Oh, before that was like the Chomp scene, right? Chomp was also amazing. That shit like scared the shit out of me, man. Like holy shit, that scared the crap out of me. Like it really hammered down the sense of despair and just grief that Takeru was facing. Um, and when Takeru like went back to his original world and like everyone just like like damn, what was her name? The bunny girl. Was it Ray? I forget. It was like Zero Unit, right? Or something. No, that was fuck. Okay, my memory sucks. Anyway, so yeah, Rabbit Girl basically. Oh, what was Rabbit Girl's name? Oh, Kasumi, because it's an anagram of Sumika, right? So Kasumi and Yuko actually like basically shitting on the main character. That hurt as well because they were like the backbones for so much of the story. That was well written as well. When he came back to the original world and started bringing like his troubles back into this world, and even like the that world's like kind teacher, um, form of Yuko, like when she got mad at him, that was just heartbreaking. And also like looking at Sensei and how like the next day how she got like stabbed just watching on the news, that was like mind-bendingly insane, man. And holy crap, those emotions were crazy. Just 10 out of 10 non-stop for like probably 5 6 hours of reading. Um, so I could talk about that more and more and more, but oh yeah, what happened to Sumika again? Such a tragedy. Oh, I should probably also say where was the beta rape? Did I not write it down? Okay, so if the author these are tentacles. So if the author was able to make like a 1 hour analysis video on the Maya sex scene, I'm hoping somewhere, please, someone in the comments, like one of the 1.5 viewers of this video, someone tell me where, if anywhere, he has an interview or an analysis discussion. Oh, there's a hair here. I just blew it off about the beta rape scene because that was just like I need context on. First of all, I'm not like some kind of like prude. I'm not some kind of like newbie. It's like his first foray into this kind of thing. It's like, oh no, how can tentacles be like attacking a girl? This is just impossible, bro. Or anything like that's not my point here. Okay, but I'll get to this later. Let me see. So what else? Okay, the other thing that didn't deliver that made me subtract the one after all was the politics. So this might just be because I had the wrong expectations, because like some people who went into it, I think this was even on like some download page, they were like, part 3 of Muv-Luv, like it has like intense like politics as well and like whatever. And like, but actually it was also hinted, because like from the beginning, Takeru's one of his goals, and also the ones that Yuko like told him about, and also like Mikoto's dad basically also mentioned, is like, you have to, like, the point of those adult characters was that you have to maneuver your way in the world. This is something that I think World Trigger, which was definitely inspired by Muv-Luv, like just look at the aliens and like their designs and forms and so on and whatever, but also a lot of aspects, right? And also like Mikumo in World Trigger actually like using a lot of these kind of like rhetorical techniques and like organizational techniques, and like thinking about those things was great. I wish Takeru did that more. I think he did that like once or twice with Yuko Sensei only, and it was just like him, like not revealing his whole hand to her basically. And that was okay. But in terms of the payoff, I would say that's like a 5 out of 10 at most for the payoff. Because I really expected him. First of all, this is the part where like it's kind of a me problem. I expected like him to like grow up, to like have maybe like a small time skip for him to like be promoted a bit, and like to have some politics and actual like, dealing with maybe government officials, dealing with other like military commanders, and like how to maneuver with them, use tricks and like strategy and tactics. But in the end, the story was just him as a teen like going into there and like fighting one more time. So that's kind of a, my expectation, so that's kind of on me. But still, even if we didn't have this like whole adult, let's say, arc, I still wanted him to like, maybe when dealing with his comrades, right, his comrades, or maybe just with the other like leaders or other countries, I wanted to see him have more moments where he actually started to maneuver or outmaneuver around them, like intellectually speaking. And I know those moments are so hard to write, um especially because like, even if you're very smart, writing someone who is very very smart is very difficult, right, obviously. And anyway, so, but I would have loved to see him actually start to like do this politicking and like this like that kind of angle. But let's now talk about, the twist and the beta rape, and then I'll go to my document and see if there's anything left, but I do have to go soon. So the twists, first of all, I was kind of spoiled on these two things a little bit. I will tell you how much I was spoiled. So for the beta rape, I just knew like something where like, I think people said like Sumiko was like unclean as like a waifu or whatever. The whole thing they say about like, spoiler alert for another big visual novel, skip 5 seconds if you don't want to hear the whole thing about like Sakura from Fate as well or whatever. It's kind of memed, whatever, right? So I did hear about that. And then when I saw the brain, right, these are kind of connected. When I saw the brain, I don't think I realized until we started getting Sumika's like memories from this, right? I mean, I think I actually like, I didn't realize, right, but I knew it was probably gonna be like Sumika, because like this is the only other like human that we don't know about in this story, and there just happens to be one human that's missing from the story. Like it kind of just made sense to me. Like this is the original world, this is Sumika. In this world, you're missing something, and then we have like this extra brain. Like it just kind of made sense to me. So maybe I like hacked into this realization, but it wasn't until the actual like Sumika memory started coming in, or no, it wasn't until Kasumi started waking him up, I think, that I was like, oh, it's definitely the brain. Because like at the end of Unlimited 2, I think that's where I confirmed it 100%. Because there she was like, I will die if I leave this thing, right? Like the brain in a tube. So that just made me think like, oh, because she's receiving like a lot of like, thoughts, projections from that brain, and so that's what's making her act like Sumika. So that's when I was sure that it wasn't like Kasumi was Sumika or anything. It was like the brain was Sumika. So that was cool. So like I did realize that, and then when I thought about why she was in a brain, right? Well, it became obvious when I think in the beginning of Alternative, I think when they saw those brains in the caves, or like this like the hives, when they saw the brains, then it was obvious to me. Okay, so like she was basically like, hurt by, or even before that, because I knew that her house and like um her house was kind of like broken down, I believe, as well. So it was kind of clear that she would have been like hurt by the beta. But when I saw that, like I said, that all the brains together, it was obvious what happened to her, right? She was like brutally just harmed by betas. Now here's where I get to this point. For me, I think a better way to write it would have been to um like show her just getting like torn apart, literally like arms, like the fibers of every muscle just being torn apart, like showing her suffering, like calling for help, Takeru-chan, come save me, right? And like showing her crying, like, and then at the end maybe like you can still have the effect of her kind of like betraying him in a sense at the end, being like, like, why did I even trust you, like why aren't you here, like I'll never forgive you or whatever, I don't know, some shit like that. Anyway, that might be like really dumb, but I'm just saying there's a lot of ways you could have established her like turning against him in a sense, as opposed to like the whole like netorare thing where it's like, oh Takeru, these tentacles are like making my nipples into dicks, bro, like, oh Takeru, like I came to them but I would never come to you, bro. like when that happened, I know you were supposed to feel like devastated, and maybe like some people did, but for me, like, and I wasn't even disgusted or anything. Like I said, I'm not a prude. This isn't my first foray. This isn't my first little dance here, but like basically I just read it. I was like, okay, and click, okay, click, okay, click, okay, click, and like like I just watched it happen. I was like, okay, got it. Like that kind of ruined the whole Unit 00 thing for me, a little bit. It didn't ruin it entirely, and like her kind of gradually getting back her feelings, um and her sense of self was really great. And of course it was so jarring and scary to see her like blank-eyed, and like to see Sumika built up. And so yeah, the twist of like where Sumika did get to come to this world via Unit 00, I think that was something I was actually surprised on a little, so that was really cool. But my point here is like the beta rape scene, a lot of people are like, oh that's disgusting, how dare you, and a lot of people are like, yo, that broke my heart, bro. But like to me, it just kind of like fell flat. I guess that's all. So it wasn't either of those. And for the twist, like I said, yeah, the main twist, I would say, like I kind of already saw through, so that wasn't that surprising. But all the other twists still probably really hit me. I would say. Oh, for the themes, I guess is one last thing I should say before I go, and also check my document. But so the themes were really nice. The whole like patriotism angle, like sacrifice, like choices you have to make. Um, like the patriotism was really cool as well, like different countries and so on. And really like I think he presented the themes very, very well. Probably like 9 to 10 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. So let me talk about what's on my document now. So um, so it looks like I had some questions here. I just burped. Let me just read the questions. I don't know how valid they are anymore. I might have written these down like halfway through the story, right? But like, why don't the beta just shoot down our satellites? Why didn't they shoot down alternative 5? Um, wouldn't that be alternative? Oh yeah, alternative 5. Maybe it's just out of range. Like I could have just been stupid as hell. Probably just out of range or some shit. Anyway, that was like halfway through the story, probably like in the middle. So why doesn't the MC have memories of him protecting Sumika from the warrior beta? Um, I guess what does that mean? Like at the beginning of like when this Takeru was dying, basically, you mean? Um, Sumika's dream, crying in the dark room, two big twins that were shrinking. Oh yeah, two big twins that were shrinking. I think this was something I don't know what that was referring to. Oh, but that reminds me, the diaries scene. Dude, when he saw the diaries scene, that was like 11 out of 10, bro. Yo, the diaries in Sumika's room, like, I can't forget him. Yo, fuck, bro. That was like heart-rending, bro. Here it says, why was Kasumi crying leaving Sumika's room? Edit. Oh, okay, so I realized. Oh, here I wrote like even if you get rid of this like hive and whatever, they can just send another hive from space anytime. So it's kind of bleak, but there is like kind of a sequel, so to speak, visual novel. So I haven't read that. I probably won't, but maybe they address that. So oh yeah, also meeting with the alien was fucking cool. Like how they like had the alien learn language slowly and how their sense of morality was totally different. That was really cool. Um, mm, Let me see. Oh, it says here the explanation at the end with Yashiro is kind of lame. I don't know if that means I don't know if that's referring to like when she gets sent to the extra world, but anyway, let me see. Um it says here I pretty much called that, but without confidence, that Sumika was the one who made me a casualty conductor. I self-inserted a bit, so that's why I said me. But I thought it was because she was the boss of the betas and wanted me to destroy her for a second. Oh yeah, for some reason I thought like a cool plot twist might have been if like she was the boss of the betas, and like the whole tragedy was like we have to destroy her to save the world. um Let me see. Oh yeah, I wrote about how I wanted Takeru to like do more politics stuff. How the character arcs weren't really fully rounded. I don't think Mikoto and her dad ever actually met, to be honest. And Takeru never really outwitted any politicians or whatever. Um, oh yeah, channeling like Rob from RTTV, that one reaction channel. Yo, willpower. Yo, cause of willpower, I can time leap and world leap. Yeah. So I wrote that down as a joke, but really like I was fine with all the scientific explanations and so on. Um, I wonder if Steins Gate is more or less like explained in terms of the time travel like concepts, because like this series, I mean, Muv-Luv was already pretty like damn explained. Um, I wrote here also we just never brought up again that the girls also got embarrassed when the sex memories came to Takeru. Um, oh yeah, because like I guess they also felt the memories awaken as well, but then I feel like that point was just never addressed again. Also like why was it why was Mikoto a Shikoto in this and like a male in the first one? I guess there could be reasons for it. You don't need to address it directly, so it's whatever. So let me just write the great part. Oh, and here I have like the great parts about it and the bad parts. All right, let's see. So great parts, the consistency between the science and military and these new concepts were all great. The geopolitics was pretty interesting and well thought out. The human emotions are really good. The battles are pretty great. Structurally pretty well outlined. The escalation was pretty good. Themes were nicely done throughout. Takeru's growth was really good. Portraying Kozuki Sensei as a genius character. Oh, that was really fucking well done. Yeah, the depiction of genius is really good. Like I said, writing a genius character is hard because the writer like is like 99.9999% of the time not as much of a genius, right? Um, that's just obviously makes sense. So you have to spend a lot of time in portraying how they're actually smart. So yeah, the way they did that, I don't even know if I can come up with any examples of it, but like basically just her scheming and plans weren't just like, I predicted this all along. Well, it was kind of like that, but there was more to it, and how things actually worked out according to her plans throughout the whole series was just really cool. I mean, like her plans and their like echoing effects, and her seeing those effects stretched out through the whole series. It wasn't just like a sudden, haha, I saw it all coming all along. Yeah, the characters were pretty great. In the end, Shirogane's running away arc was the best arc, and on par with the best moments in Higurashi for me. Okay, that's what I wrote. And talking with the alien at the end was cool. So bad parts, way too wordy or verbose. I mean, that's a common visual novel thing, I guess, but here especially, sometimes there was too much dialogue that was just exposition, like literally a 1 hour like lecture, I think, at sometimes. Yeah, like I said, it didn't perfectly wrap up some character arcs, although they were still really damn good a lot of the time. Yeah, the final ending was just good slash standard, I guess, because what else was gonna happen? He won, he went back to his like happy land. That's basically it, I guess. Yeah, and we didn't get to see him outwitting and outplanning politicians and so on. Um, so anyway, but I don't want to end it on a bad note. So this was like really goddamn amazing visual novel. Really amazing just story, a piece of fiction in general. Um 1 second. Um so yeah, I mean really just let me see. Let me just do something real quick. Just sorry, I have to do this before I end the video. Just give me like a little longer. This is very important to me. Alright, and before this video gets demonetized. Alright, I just had to do it, forgive me. Alright, now, anyway, let me end this video by saying, basically, yeah, really amazing story. I can't look at these tits and talk seriously. Let me at least get rid of the nipples. Alright, so basically for me, this story was just an amazing drama of a lot of characters that didn't fully end the characters properly, in my opinion. But it ended the story amazingly, and in the middle and throughout the story there were so many like 10, maybe 11 out of 10 amazing moments unforgettable moments that weren't just there for shock value. They were there for a reason, and it connected to other parts of the story really well. The battles, the scale of the battles, seeing everyone fight, like pour their lives out for the cause, was something that just a normal person living in a normal modern society, like Takeru at first, couldn't get used to at all. So it just awakened parts of my brain, just like White Album 2, that were lying dormant. And I'm really appreciative that I got to experience this tale of tragedy and bitter success. I'm glad I got to grow along with Takeru, and really, really, I would call it a great drama, a great war drama. Just just amazing. And I don't think things need to be perfect, and I wouldn't call this perfect, but I would call it just mind-blowingly amazing. I had a really good time with it, and yeah. All right. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope it doesn't get taken down for the nipples. Like, as long as none of you guys report it, then I think we'll be fine. Um, Make sure to smash subscribe. And tune in for tomorrow's Shonen Jump video, assuming that my my vocal cords heal after these two visual novel videos. Oh, and tell me how you like this new format where like I like write things and like I on this canvas, and I also like draw nipples on the characters while I talk. I thought it would be like a bit more like interesting than previous videos. But cool. That's about it for now. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Peace.